was posting on TikTok. So like while it was uploading, there was stuff being fed to me, and the one was like he calls himself the whore whisperer, and I know what he calls himself. And he's like telling these young women who are sugar babies how to get these men to spend money on them to where they can make the most like cash. So they're like, well, don't get product because that's a depreciative asset. Make sure he's buying you these 2 bags, or make sure if he's buying you gifts, it's from these 2 stores because it's like cash return. I was like, whoa, that doesn't seem great advice for anybody because it just seems like when you're going to wake up one day and either be broke, you spent all your money on these women that didn't give a shit about you, or B, you just wasted your youth on a guy who just bought you a bunch of bags. And I'm like, this is what's out there right now. And this has like millions of views. And I'm just like hitting myself in the head. Like, I hope that it's just people watching it like me that are just in shock and not actually like consuming like this is a good idea. I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna
Of
exchange my
course there
account.
are.
No,
Of course there are. A deal's a deal, man. A win's a win. If you don't have any talent or skills, that becomes your talented skill. I mean, you can't hate the player, you gotta hate the game. You know?
total yeah. I
People are out here hustling. Okay? They're hustling. And then I'm on the other side of that coaching the men. So it's just job insurance for me. But on the lower spectrum of that, maybe they're spending too much money on the bag. They can't afford my coaching, and that's the sad.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you feel like you have to have your relationship as a transaction, and all relationships are transactional
Mhm.
because it's an emotional give and take, it's a physical give and take. But if it's materialistically transactional, you're probably not in good keeping.
No, on either end. Yeah,
No.
demand better on both ends.
It's a little soulless to, I feel like, trade yourself for a Birkin, but I mean, if it's a Birkin, sure. If it's a little Prada bag, that's a different story. Someone buying like $1,000 bag versus a $43,000 bag, it's a little different.
Well, yeah,
Marry that man.
right, don't let that one go.
Someone's gonna see this and be like, Elise, how dare you? I'm just joking, guys. I'm just having fun.
No, you're allowed to be playful. So, I saw it's so funny because I feel like I know my phone is listening to me. Everyone, your phone is listening to you, but I was digesting all of your content to, like, prepare and get these questions, so I was just getting fed a lot of, like, relationship feed posts and, like, men's posts, so it actually worked out. This one that came up a lot that came up is this, shame against men's sexual gratification. So it's almost I don't know if you've heard of, like, semen retention.
Yeah.
That's super popular right now. Um, a a title of a really popular podcast right now was "Masturbating is Hurting You," and it's kind of like this puritanical culture is resurging, but with a
So
new
weird.
with new branding. And, uh it's crazy to me because we don't do this to women, we actually do quite the opposite, we're like, "Yes, you go girl, you be a sugar baby, you get an OnlyFans, like, you do you, sister or queen," but when it comes to a men, it's like, "How dare you? You cannot ejaculate because then you are, like, you're" what do you call it? Degrading women, or it's shameful, or you're wasting your life force, it's like all of this weird
Yeah, it's so
rebranding.
weird.
Yeah, do you have a lot of men that are struggling
Wasting
with
your life force.
it's crazy. Struggling with, like, sexuality or their expression because we can see like, we cope with stress in healthy and unhealthy ways, and I don't think that, like, having a release is necessarily bad, right? Like, there's a good way and a bad way, a healthy way and an unhealthy way to do it. So, even as a woman, if you're stressed and you masturbate, like, that can't like, you get those endorphins, it's a good thing. If you're doing it every single time, maybe you might wanna, like, add some more tools to your toolkit, but I don't necessarily think that that's, like, a shameful act. We like, from a young age, we are shaming men for what I think is, like, a healthy coping mechanism.
I wouldn't say that it's a healthy coping mechanism necessarily, but I think it's a healthy practice for self pleasure.
Mhm.
And there's nothing like it. I actually had a shaman talk to me when I was in Mexico. He was my shamanic teacher, and he told me that the whole semen retention thing was so dangerous and people can get cancer. And it's just crazy. People are telling people to like never masturbate, to never ejaculate. Like men need to do this.
Right.
And so it's yeah, like you said, it's kind of this puritanical weird, we're going back into a religious state of like sex is bad and, you know, masturbating is bad and touching yourself is bad, like pleasure is bad. And that's not bad. Anytime something goes into an addiction, it's not good for your health. Anytime you're using something as an avoidance, it's not good, right? If you're masturbating for self-pleasure, for your own personal enjoyment, that's different than saying, "Oh my god, I don't wanna do my work, so I'm gonna masturbate
Right,
8
yeah,
times a day."
mhm,
Right?
yeah.
So I totally agree with that. I think that movement is so crazy.